want to learn how to pass props in React.js? Yes, I said React.js. Some of you might be confused because I'm using Next.js, I'm talking about React.js. Yes, they are complementary to each other. You might realize or not, but basically, as you can check here, Next.js, even the latest version of it, is built on top of React 18. Okay, so if you've been watching my videos, you probably saw me like creating pages, so dealing with routing, either simple pages, nested pages, stuff like that. You probably saw me doing the usual components like navbar, footer, stuff like that. You probably also saw me doing like other components specific to a specific project, and where I use grids and flexbox and stuff like that. Okay, but chances are that if you're going to pick either Next JS or React.js, and you shouldn't really do things in plain React.js anymore, you should use Next.js or other tool, other similar tool, but I'm recommending you Next.js, obviously, to do things. But at the end of the day, you still deal with React under the hook. Okay, under the hook, you are going to be building React components, and these React components in some projects for sure will need some props. Either these props are manually typed by you in the code, or maybe you map through a JSON file that you have internally in your app, or if it's a complex project, you might have a database. Okay, we are not going to go over the more complex stuff. I just wanted to mention that at the end of the day, when you're building your project using Next.js, you will very likely need some components that will take in props. Okay, so that's what we are going to be doing today in this video. So it's like props 101 per se in React.js. Okay, that out of the way, I just have here like a starter code, a boilerplate that I will be linking in this video description, so you get the exact initial code that I have, so you can then continue. Of course that when you download the zip folder that I will link in the video description, the first thing that you have to do is npm I to install this node modules folder, because it will not be there. And without this node modules folder, you cannot run commands, okay, and your app, website, whatever will not work. Okay, so first thing, download using the link that I will be providing in the video description, then unzip the file, drag it inside Visual Studio Code, and then the first command is npm I for you to install node modules folder. Only after that you can then run your development server. And because we are dealing with Next.js, of course the command is npm run dev. Okay, you saw me doing this. Okay, I already told you where you're going to need this. I already told you how to use this starter code. So let's see what I have prepared for you in advance. Okay, let's go to our app directory, and we have already a components folder, the usual, where I have a product grid and a product card components. I think these two are very self-descriptive. Okay, and then in my root, I have in my home page what I have is I am of course importing and calling my product grid. So in my home page I'm just calling my product grid. Let's have a look on the product grid then. Okay, product grid, there you go. Let me just zoom out so you see. Okay, as you can see, the outer div is what creates the grid itself. So, and you will see what the grid is and where the grid is, because I gave it a kind of gray background color. Inside the grid at this moment I only have like one column, but this grid is prepared to grow up to 3 columns. Okay, I don't have content for those columns, I don't have those columns yet. I only have this first column, but this grid can contain 3 columns side by side on larger screens. Okay, so then we go back to, because we know that we are importing the grid inside the home page, so let's see the product card then. The product card in this example, as you can see, is hard coded. Okay, so it's like just any very basic and simple component. Okay, so let's see what this looks like on the browser. Okay, so the grid, as I said, it's the gray background, and the green represents the product itself. Okay, but it's hard coded: title 1, price 1, discount 1, description 1, whatever you want to have there. But chances are that this is not so useful, because when you do have a card, you want to have several things that look the same, like the UI looks the same. Let's assume that you have like shoes. Okay, the product card always contains a title, a price, a discount, a description, or whatever information you want to pass in, of course. But I mean, in terms of UI, in terms of the front end, the card is meant to look always the same. And this is actually really important for UI and UX. Okay, but let's not talk too much about it, just to mention. So, as you can see, and I'm actually gonna inspect this so we can see this. Can we do this? No, I think I'm gonna do it in a different way, sorry. Okay, it's not really zoomed in, but that doesn't really matter. My point is I only have like one column and I will have 3. Okay, so, and how can I accomplish that? So the product card lives inside the product grid component. The product grid component gets called inside our home page. Okay, so if I were to have another column, I'll just copy paste and boom, come on, there you go, second column, and one more, and I'm just trying to show you what is the product card and what is the grid. Okay, and I'm showing you that this is just a responsive grid. That's my point, showing you these 3 columns. Okay, but of course this is not handful, so I'm just copying the same information. That makes no sense. So the point is, how can I still have the same UI and the same information but with different values? So title 1, title 2, title 3, price 1, price 2, price 3, so on. Even if I want to keep adding stuff, like, okay, I want even another one, so I can always keep adding, but I'm just repeating the components, so this is not really helpful. Okay, how do we fix this? We need to use one thing that is called props, and props, it's just a short name for properties, and properties hold data, so they have information. So what you can do and what you must do is to pass props, and you pass props to the product card. So in this case, let me zoom in, sorry. This is hard coded. I do not want this, because I want to use this component, this product card, but each time I call this product card, I somehow want to give more information. So how can I do this? The easiest way, some people think it's easy, some people think it's not, and I'm gonna tell you right away, this is not the most up-to-date way, but you will still see people teaching this and people doing this way because it works. For some people it's more logical. It's just to say props, okay, inside your component, and then you're gonna say here, instead of title 1, you're gonna apply some logic and you're gonna say props.title. Okay, so you're preparing your component, and then you say props.price. Okay, and then props dot, yeah, you guessed it, discount, and you also say props dot description. So now you can go to your product grid where your product card gets called, and this is your product card. When you define it, your props, you predefine it there, and now you can say, okay, I have title, price, discount, description. So I can say here title, okay, and I can pass any value, title, price, discount, is this, yeah, title, price, discount, description, now it's blank, of course, but now you can copy, if you want 3 of them, all you have to do is do a really quick editing here, okay, so it's going to be my product 3, not my first, but my second column, and my third column. I always like to work with comments because comments help me to see visually where I'm at. Now this is a very simple piece of code with 20 something lines, but imagine when you have like dozens or hundreds. Trust me, comments can really tell you and easily help you to locate where you are at. Okay, so now of course I'm gonna go to check my website. I will get 3 columns, but I will get no information. Why is that? I have defined my props here. Yes, I defined that. I can pass in props, but all I have is just a grid with no content. Okay, so let's start passing in the props. So I will say, obviously, title 1, price can be 1, 2, 3, I don't know, oh come on, pounds, yeah, we can use pounds. Discount can be minus 10%. In description, product 1 description. Let's see now. Boom. Okay, so we are not really hard coding anymore, one thing and copying it anymore. We are defining it individually. Okay, so now, just to be faster, I'm just gonna copy this to here, and I'm gonna change to title 2. Here it's gonna be just whatever, and here it's gonna be like 15, and here it's gonna be like 2. The same here, and I say title 3, and then here it's gonna be whatever price in pounds, and here it's gonna be like 30, and here it's gonna be like 3. Okay, I refresh. Now as you can see, I'm able to use the same component, the same UI. Of course this UI is awful, but will work in a small project that will make it way more beautiful than this. But the point is, I now have still, of course, my grid, which is fully responsive, amazing, that's always good news, okay? And I have my individual items. Of course, you'll need to add an image and more information, but you get my point. And now if I want to add something, of course, like I did before, I just copy and I say the fourth. So I update my comments as well. Product number 4 and title number 4, and the price is going to be whatever price. Looks like these prices are going up for some reason, also with bigger discounts and still going up anyways. And there you go. So now we are able to reuse our UI and we are passing different values to it. Okay, this is good, and this is what props are meant to be doing. But there's only one thing that we could still do to make this code a bit shorter, and that's a way more common way of passing props these days. Instead of saying props here and then you say props.title, props.price, prop, you get my point. You destructure, and what you do is, this is called object destructuring. So you just Google JavaScript object destructuring and you should be able to find plenty more informations. So now I'm not going to say props.title, props.price and so on. I'm just going to say right away title and then price and then discount and finally description. So I avoid using these props, so I can definitely get rid of it. So the code is a bit shorter and you see right away where it's available to you, and you don't have to do nothing else. Now you're just gonna check and you can refresh if you want, and you can even check, inspect to see if there's any errors, and as you can see it's the same, it is working. All we did was to update to make our code a bit shorter, which is what you normally want. And then you can go still, of course, and still say, instead of price 1, you can say in title 1, sorry, you can say title A, title B, title C, title D. And this still works. Okay, boom. Okay, this video was really short and you might think it was not helpful, but if you are watching my channel, trust me, you will need props, because many times imagine that you have, like, I don't know, you sell clothes, you sell food, you sell whatever, phone covers, whatever. Chances are that you're going to have, if you're not going to use a database, you will have all of your products inside an internal JSON file, and then you map through this file in order to render all of your products on the page. So definitely props, regardless of where they are coming and the way you getting to them, it's definitely something that you will need. And if you want to build something like a product card, you will for sure will have to use in a way or another. So this was today's video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Keep watching and I will keep posting. See you. Ciao.